Good evening. So I was just reading a tweet by, hang on a second now, I get his handle for you. At, at Tez Truth 81, right? So great page to follow. He gives great breakdowns of just what's going on, right? The details, the factual breakdown of the cost of this stuff on you, right? So I'm just going to have a look at a few little things and share them with you. And the article that he linked, or the post that he made, was from the department, from numbers given by the Department of Social Protection, right? The Dole office, essentially. And it stated that 57,798 non-nationals are on the dole, right? Claiming job seekers. So if we look at that at being job seekers payment is €232 a week. If you multiply that by the amount of non-nationals on the dole, it's costing you, if you're paying tax, it's costing the taxpayers 13 million a week. And if we multiply that by 52 weeks for a year, it's costing you, us, Irish people, and people in Ireland that are working, who are paying taxes, who are not from here, right? It's costing the taxpayer 700 million a year to bring people, not even to bring people in, different cost altogether, when they're here. 700 million euros a year for people to come here and claim the dole. And that's certainly money that's not going back into making your family's lives any better, right? And you're paying for it all. Now, legal aid. Legal aid has seen, from asylum seekers, refugees, all that stuff, a 600% increase this year, right? So general costs, this is from Grok breakdown, right? So pick it apart if you want to go find better numbers, off you go, bring them back to me. General cost, the total cost for criminal legal aid in Ireland was around 72 million in 2022. This figure encompasses all criminal legal aid, not specifically for foreigners, but includes any cases involving non-nationals. So, civil legal aid, different thing again. The Legal Aid Board's budget for civil legal aid in 2024 was 59 million. This budget has been increasing with an 11% rise from the previous year, which means your taxes go up. There's no free sandwiches here, like. Nothing's free. Partly due to the increased demand from international protection applicants and corresponding NGOs that are funneling these people into it, right? And here you go. The number of applications for free legal aid from asylum seekers has seen significant increases. For example, in 2023, there was a nearly 600% rise in applications over 2 years, with 8,850 cases related to international protection. Solicitors and barristers are licking their lips, right? That's why they're not coming out talking about any of this stuff. Barring a few exceptions, Tracy O'Mahony being one of them, you're never going to hear from solicitors or barristers speaking out about any of this stuff, not just in this specific instance, but in the wider legality of what's going on in Ireland. You're never going to hear any of them stick their head above the parapet, because they are rolling in it, right? Rolling in it. And the knock-on effect of this is that courts are clogged up to the last, right? Hearing cases that have no business being heard, shouldn't be hearing, shouldn't be happening in this country, right? So we skip down to the last, right, because it doesn't give a total breakdown. So it says total cost estimation. So it's estimating, right? So given the complexity, it's challenging to provide an exact annual cost for legal aid specifically for foreigners. However, considering the significant portion of the civil legal aid budget related to asylum seekers, one might infer that a substantial but undetermined part of the 50 million civil and 72 million criminal in 2022 is indirectly or directly linked to legal aid for foreigners, right? So if we're conservative enough in that, right? So it's about 130 million the pot is altogether. So and it's suggesting that the bulk of the legal aid is going towards this. Let's say 100 million, right? Let's say 100 million goes towards this, coming out of your pocket. You're paying for this. Were you ever asked about this? Because they flout the idea of, or they butter up and try and shove this idea down your throat of democracy and will of the people and for the greater good, right? Genuine democracy is having a say in these things. And fundamentally, above nearly anything else, people are mainly interested in where their money is going, right? So if you went door to door and asked people, do you want to be funding this? I would imagine that budget would shrink up pretty quickly. Now, on to something else. The budget for housing Ukrainian nationals under temporary protection was expected to be 456 million in 2025, a decrease from previous years. Again, were you asked about this? Would you have said, if you were asked directly, do you want to fund this? No, you're okay. I'll hold on to my money, thanks, if given the choice. And the disgusting thing about this is you get no say, right? If you're working cash in hand and you try and retain some of that money, revenue are after you, right? Someone will grass you up, revenue will come and get their pie. Simple as that. And if you're not, if you're just getting paid the regular way, then this money's taken. This money's taken before you even get your hands on it. At least in America, right, the idea is you do up your taxes at the end of the year. So, as far as I understand it anyway, correct me if I'm wrong and totally ignorant on the subject, but as far as I understand it, you do up your taxes annually, right? So, at least if you had any sort of misgivings about where your taxes are going, you could stage a financial rebellion or a financial protest and say, I'm not paying my taxes because I don't like it that it's going here, right? So at least on paper, there's that potential. Not here. Not here. Your money is not even, it doesn't even get to go into your hands and it's gone, right? What you call that? If anyone else does that, what do you call it? Right? The government has a monopoly on theft. It's as simple as that. So now, on to asylum seekers. Asylum seekers receive a daily expenses allowance, with adults getting €38.80 per week, which adds to the overall cost, legal aid, blah, 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 right? So there are said to be 22,000 asylum seekers in Ireland, estimated for last year. So if we multiply that by the 38.80, we get €853,600 a week out of your pocket. And then if we multiply that by 52 weeks, making a year, it is costing you 44,387,200 just to put 40 quid in an asylum seeker's pocket. So altogether, just those things, just those 2-3 things I mentioned, that adds up to 1.3 billion euros. There are 2.6 million taxpayers in Ireland, in and around, right? So if we divide the 1.3 billion by the 2.6 billion taxpayers, that ends up costing you, just on these 2 or 3 issues, €500 a year. Would you prefer to keep that money? I'm sure you would. That could be your car insurance for the year. So, and that's never mind adding in the cost of housing these people, which falls under the Department of Integration, Integration, Youth and Disability, right? Which just happened to get an €8 billion budget last year. Where's that going? It's certainly not going on childcare. Right? It's certainly not that that government should have anything to do with childcare. This is our failing. Okay? So it's not just finger pointing. This is our failing. Once you open the door to government, it keeps expanding and growing. Right? It's like a cancer for all intents and purposes, right? It's a parasite. Feeds, grows and multiplies exponentially. So €8 billion that department has. That's not including the cost of paying for the medical bills and which come from the medical cards that these people are automatically guaranteed to get, right? Joe O'Brien, automatically guaranteed. Said it in the Dáil. They get one as soon as they come here. You're means tested. I've heard of people making a few euros over the threshold and not getting one. But if you come here and you're not from here, Guaranteed to get one. Guaranteed to get one. And who's paying that bill? Again, there's no free sandwiches here. You're paying that. So I would love to, and considering the GP waiting lists, I would love to see how much I'll have a look at it in a minute, but it's probably very hard to find. I would love to see the amount that these people's medical bills are costing the state. Not the state, you, sorry. It's not costing, the state doesn't exist. We're all people making decisions individually and collectively, agreeing with them explicitly or agreeing to them in silence, right? Silence being consent. This is costing you. Cost of medical bills for these people. Cost of paying for the rise in car insurance due to the car crashes caused by these people, which we've seen lots of. The cost of paying for the overtime of Gardaí because of these people, right? And even people protesting these things. Gardaí are on overtime. How much is that costing? It's costing you again, right? The need, and it is a need, it's artificially created, but it's a legitimate need to expand the Gardaí, right? To help ameliorate the low application and to help stop or help make up for the fact that so many guards are deciding to pack it all in and leave. Now you have Drew Harris saying, let's look at the little bonuses you get when you sign on to do a good job, right? Or what is it, a job worth doing? Nonsense. How much is that costing you? Counselling services, which are already busting at the seams because of the crimes committed by some of these people. You're paying for that too. Yeah, and you're looking at this costing you, in the end, never mind the 6-7 billion euros that's going on these 10,000 NGOs, which nearly all have their fingers in the pie of the refugee stuff in one way or another, right? The residential units, the social care stuff, the private companies that are making millions off of the importation of these unaccompanied minors, or even the adults as well, right? The pressure that's put on school systems, because all of a sudden you've 40,000 new kids in the country. They need to be put into places. You can't be seen to be not giving an education to these foreigners because it'd be seen as racist, right? And we don't want to be seen as racist. So we just discriminate against our own people and extract the payment from those very people that we're discriminating against. So overall, this is costing you thousands every year. Thousands. You could have a holiday, you could have your car tax paid for the year, you could have your insurance paid for the year with this money. You'd be even able to put aside a little bit, right? But now not anymore. Not anymore. So this is costing you thousands every year to fund somebody's life who should not be here and who you were never asked if you wanted to care for. And what do? Please, sir, can I have some more?